What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of Value Town. I'm your ChanManV, and joining me as always are the ever popular Trump and Krip. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
Hello.
What's up, guys? So, all right, today, guys, we're gonna be talking four drops, neutral cards. We're gonna do our card analysis, and we'll do an arena coaching session. Have these guys kind of walk me through a draft because I need my help in arena. That's for dang sure. But how you guys been? How's Hearthstone been treating you guys?
Pretty well for me the last few days.
Yeah?
Get a lot of golds from getting a lot of wins.
Oh yeah.
Getting pretty lucky.
Lucky.
Yay,
All
RNG.
right. Okay. All right. Getting a lot of 12 wins, or what's your 12 win percentage right now?
I don't know. I went like 12, 12, 11, and like 6 yesterday, and the day before it was like 12, 12, and 11.
Okay, that's pretty good. How about you, Trump?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well too. Finally starting to build up the gold now that I've gotten most of the cards I want. Yeah, can be 1,000 air soon too, or 10,000 air.
How close to all the legendaries are you? Do you have like a ton of?
I actually got my last one. I got a green skin, which is the only card I was missing for like a month, and he came in
Nice.
gold. So yeah.
Nice value, that's for sure. I still have I think I have 5 of them still left to get. But
Well, I have 40,000 dust, so I'm building it for the full golden legendary.
oh my god, that's amazing, dude. Okay, well, let's just jump right into some of our our card analysis. And again, guys, we're doing the 4 drops because in the past, Krip has talked about in arena the 4 drops being probably the most important, at least the mana cost being the most important range right there. It used to be the 2 drops when it first started, I guess, in the beta, but now 4 drops seems to be the most important. So I figured we'd get back into this, and we're gonna do our same process. We're gonna have Trump start us on the left and Krip on the right. And we'll start off with.
What's your take on this, Trump? I feel like the 2s is like kind of big. Like you don't want to miss a 2s, but they don't really matter. And then like the 4 comes in, like the Yeti comes in and cleans up all the earlier creatures. I feel like that's the turning point. So I think the 4s are the most important in arena now.
You know, I sort of feel like it's all important because you can have the best 4s, but if you don't have enough 2s, then you're still going to lose. It's just and heck, you need the 3s too, so it's all important.
Yeah, 3s aren't too shabby these days, too.
It is actually using the wrong microphone. Okay. I'm going to be right back.
What, you're using the wrong what? Mic?
Microphone, yeah, be right back.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that bad, but it's all good. Do you see there's any kind of difference between in constructed and arena in terms of the importance of 4s, or it's about the same?
Well, it might be more important in constructed just
Okay.
because the types of decks in constructed will usually use the 4 spells to catch up with cards like Swipe and Consecrate. But that's...
It's kind of
We
a different.
good?
I mean, it's still
Yeah, we're
always
good.
important and everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
we're
like old Krip. You guys didn't say anything about my microphone, so I didn't know.
It didn't seem that bad to me, but yeah, it is slightly better now, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's get started here. So, Trump, you want to start us with Ancient Brewmaster?
Yeah, sure. I basically think of this as a Yeti with reverse stats, and it turns out that the 4 health is 5/4 is less good than 4/5. Battle Cry is sometimes useful, it's sometimes not, but turns out to be quite a bit worse than Yeti, but it's still good. That's about it.
Okay. Trump, Krip.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason 4 health is kind of bad is because once you get into the high win area, you're usually queuing into the good class ability classes, so they can kill the 4 health with like their 2 drop plus a hero ability sometimes. But I remember Trump and I talked about the pandas, and I really liked the youthful brewmaster. And he said he liked this one better. And now I like this one better because it's a good 4 drop. And sometimes I play like a crappy 2 drop, and they like sometimes coin up a 4 like a Senjin, and then the Ancient Brewmaster comes and rescues him and trades for their 4-drop. So I think it's very good. Despite the stats being lackluster, I feel it really allows you to make up for your shitty 2-drops.
Trump, do you still feel the same way about Youthful Brewmaster versus Ancient? Do you like Ancient better, or?
Gee, I actually have a ranking list over at Liquid Hearth. Let me check it out.
There you go.
Whoa.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure I have Youthful ranked above, but I'm just curious. I have Youthful ranked as number 21, and Ancient is 28, so apparently I like the Youthful Brewmaster more.
Okay.
This just in.
Fairly close, though. Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Okay, let's move on to Ancient Mage, which gives spell power damage to adjacent minions, which is the only card that does this. Krip, what do you think about this? Is there any impact with this kind of spell damage? I guess getting +2 essentially.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, if you're playing Druid and you have like 4 swipes, and an Ancient Mage comes along, you're like, yay, Ancient Mage. But then you're already really happy that you have 4 swipes. So yeah. I don't think it's that great of a card, but excuse me. In some decks, it's pretty good.
Okay, Trump.
Yeah, the card's really variable based on how many spell damages you have. By default, it's really bad though.
Okay, I mean it does have 5 health, which will stick around, I guess, a little bit longer, but definitely the damage is not very high on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want health, you should go for Mogushin Warden or
That's
Turtle.
true.
Yeah,
that's true. 1/7, baby. Okay, next up, Cult Master. Kind of ever-drawing card here. Trump, what do you think?
Yeah, Cult Master. That's the mayor of Valuetown generally. So one of the criticisms of Cult Master is it's not good by itself, and yeah, 4 mana, 4/2 isn't great, but it's not a disaster. And usually you get to draw at least 1 card with it when you play it, and then like your 3-drop trades or your 2-drop trades. So it's good stuff.
Grip?
Apparently I'm out of sync, so you have to like deal with it, I guess. But let's see. Cult Master. I like Cult Master, but I feel like you can often get enough value without using it. So I don't think it's for all decks. I think if you play like a really rushy 2-drop heavy deck, it's pretty good. But I don't know. I kind of lost some respect for it. But it's really fun. Sometimes you get like 3, and it's really, really fun. When you get more than 1 in play, it always pays for itself, and draw your deck.
So why don't you guys think we see it more in Constructed? Because I rarely see it. If not, I don't think I ever see it in Constructed.
Constructed is like so aggressive about having something on the board that you're not going to come into the situation where it's like 3 creatures versus 3 creatures. And it's why, like Argent Squire, Harvest Golem are so popular. They're not like that great. They don't demand that good value, but they're usually something left at the end of the turn, and that's why people like them. And for that reason, Cult Master just really sucks.
I think Cult Master actually could be a one-of in some decks.
Like which ones? Like which class, maybe?
Token Paladin.
Paladin. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I actually queued up against a... No, actually, that was a Divine Favor deck. Never mind.
Okay, well, let's move on to Dark Iron Dwarf, which recently got nerfed. What's your views on DID right now?
I think Dark Iron is still pretty close to Chillwind. I think I'd actually pick Dark Iron over Chillwind in some decks, but it'd probably have to be like near the end. Dark Iron's like you have 2 drops and they play a 4, and then you upgrade your 2-drop to take care of their 4, and you have the tempo lead, and often that gets you more value later on. But the problem is if you don't have anything in your Dark Iron, 4/4 is kind of crappy. So, depends on the deck.
Okay, Trump?
Yeah, I mean, part of the good news is that a 4/4 for 4 isn't that garbage. And I usually put the Yeti over it. In fact, Yeti number 1 and Dark Iron Dwarf number 2 for my 2 top neutral commons. But it's still good since situationally it's a 4/4 plus a 2 charge, which is great.
Okay. All right, moving on, we've got Defender of Argus, which was also another card that got nerfed. Thoughts, Trump?
Yeah, this card, a lot of people. Well, this seems to be contrary to the popular opinion, but I think the nerf hit it really hard, especially in Arena, and because it's no longer that good if you play it with just one guy. You have to play it on two guys, and then you get Yeti stats. So it's still a good card, but it's not like my number one pick anymore.
Okay. Grip?
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Argus was probably the best rare slot, and now it's still really good. Again, it's one of those cards that it kind of fits in almost every deck. I would imagine that some of the mage decks that have a lot of spells, Argus might be pretty bad because you may not hit 2 creatures. But if you expect to have 2 creatures at any time, this card is going to be amazing, and that's a reasonable expectation in Arena.
Okay, Dragonling Mechanic. What you think, Grip?
Yeah, this card's not that good, but it's all right. Like you need a decent curve in Arena. So, I mean, if you have no 4-drops, you pick this card and you're like, hey, 4-drops. In general, it's not very good because as you start raking in the wins, that 2/1 Battlecry summon doesn't actually do anything. Like it tends to die to a hero ability. So, a little bit unimpressive, but it's okay. I don't know. Probably one of the worst 4-drops, but 4-drops are good, so it's okay.
Trump, what you think?
I think that even if I had a severe lack of force, I still would pick a reasonable card over Dragonling Mechanic. I have that little respect for the mechanic.
Wow, okay.
It's just the 2/1 is almost like nothing. That's about it. Well, the 2/1 is almost like nothing unless you're up against a class which can't do 1, and then it's actually pretty good.
Right.
But that's too much variance for me.
Okay, moving on to the next one, we got Dread Corsair, which can be free sometimes if you have a weapon. Trump, what you think?
I think this card is really bad in Constructed you can actually build around it, but in Arena, it's bad in all except the most extreme of cases. Where you have a lot of weapons somehow.
Okay. Crip?
It's okay for like rogues, I feel. Even if you don't have that many weapons, it's okay. I mean, it's kind of a crappy iron for Grizzly, but iron for Grizzlies, it's alright.
What's your thoughts on the taunt? I mean,
I
Taunt.
feel that these early game taunt cards, it doesn't really matter how much power they have. Like this card's pretty much going to trade the same way a Frostwolf Grunt would. So yes, in that regard, it sucks. But if you have like 3 Fiery War Axes, 2 Arcanite Reapers, then that card's pretty good. You can get a pretty good tempo advantage. You play a weapon and kill their stuff, and then you play stuff, and then they're like, oh damn, the next stuff I play dies, and then you're like, yeah, and then you're sad.
Okay, great. Gnomish Inventor. A card, one of these, one of the few card drawing cards that we have in Hearthstone. But it's probably the least popular, I think, out of all of them.
I think Gnomish
correct, right?
is one of the better ones in Arena, at least. A lot of people play the failed aggro thing, where they get a lot of 2-drops, and then you Gnomish Inventor and you draw a card and it kills 2 of them, and they get really sad. So it's really good on that end, but 2 attack can get you into a little bit of trouble, so you have to be careful against some decks.
Trump, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this card's so good, I have it on the top 10 list of my neutral commons. In Constructed, you just don't see it as often because you can have the choice to put in 2 Azure Drakes instead.
Yeah. Good point. All right, next up, we got the Mogashan Warden, which we referenced earlier. One of the biggest taunts that you're going to find in the game here. What you think, Trump?
This card sucks.
Yeah.
It is one of the biggest taunts.
Yeah.
It does suck, though. I mean, to be more clear, I guess, it's got 1 attack, and that's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can buff the attack by 1 even, it's pretty good. So
Really? Okay.
uh yeah, Mogushan is fine if you have a lot of buffs. So like in Paladin, if you have a bunch of kings. I don't know if you're familiar with the turn 3 Mogushan, turn 4 kings play that ends in a lot of sadness if you
Oh,
can't
wow.
deal with it.
Yeah, that's 5'11". That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So there's that, and if you play Shaman, well, when I play Shaman, I tend to value the Flame Tongues, the Dire Doggies,
Mm.
even like Shattered Sun. So just one more attack on it makes it really good. And if you have a lot of cards that can buff that, then the card is okay. But that's really situational. In general, it's bad.
Okay. I have started to see it just a tiny bit. At least I saw it a little bit. Maybe not so much now. Whenever the hunter was going a little bit nuts with the unleash, and people were just throwing anything out there just to absorb those 1 health units. But not so much these days, though. Okay, Oasis Snapjaw. Kind of similar, but it's got that 1 extra damage that you were talking about, Crip. So
Turtle is pretty good. Slayer of the 2-drops. And if you can give the turtle taunt either through like Houndmaster or Defender of Argus, it's an absolute monster. And yeah, it's fine. It's like better than decent amount of 4-drops. Like it's better than the Mogushan, it's better than the Dragonlane mechanic.
okay.
But still not quite as good as the slightly more balanced 4s, in my opinion. Like the ones we may talk about pretty soon.
Yep,
Yeti.
yep. Trump, thoughts on Oasis?
Yeah, I think the card is distinctly average.
Okay.
That's about all you can say about a card that has no text about it. It's really good killing 2-drops.
Okay.
And I will also, I guess, bring it up here. I think it's better than Silver Moon Guardian, since that's a card that's directly in competition with it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, like, is the card maybe better than something, like surprisingly better than another card? But Silver Moon Guardian's coming up right here. We'll talk about it. Actually, yeah, here we go. So Ogre Magi first. Trump, what you think of that?
I have it as worse than Oasis Snapjaw also, and it could be better if you have a lot of spells. It's one of those situational cards.
Okay, Grip.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think 4/4 with some little bit of bonus is really good. I mean, if I have any kind of spells, if I play Druid, I love this card. Obviously, there's some classes that don't really get many spells, but
Yeah.
In general, I think this card is pretty good.
All right, Silver Moon Guardian. So you brought it. We were just talking about it just a second ago, but I'm gonna get your comments on it first, but then I wanted to ask you about Divine Shield in general. So what do you think of this card?
I think it's okay. I'm pretty happy with all the 4s. The problem with the Guardian is that it's easier to kill if you have like the 1 damage hero ability. You can just hit it with that and hit it with your 2-drop. But that's kind of the same case for most 4 toughness. The main issue is that it only has 3 attack. So, against some decks, this is essentially like a 3/4, which is below standard.
Mm-hmm.
But, against others, the Divine Shield is really strong. So if you play this against, I don't know, let's say a hunter, he's going to be pretty sad. So I think it's okay. I guess versus the turtle, I'd probably think about it. I think in some decks I'd pick this over the turtle.
Wow. Okay. Trump.
I actually can't think about what kind of... I mean, I have this and the turtle really close, but can you give an example of when you would pick it over the turtle? Like, what would cause that?
I'd have to think a little bit, I think. I think if I had a deck that was already pretty strong against stuff like Mage, I'd go for it. Like if I already had a deck with a lot of high health minions, I'd pick this just to get some freebies.
If you had a Blood Knight in your
makes
deck.
sense.
Would a Blood Knight affect whether you would pick this card or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So it actually would. It would boost it over the turtle for me if I had Blood Knight.
Okay. So I did have a question about just Divine Shield in general in Arena. How do you guys, like, what actual quantitative value do you put on Divine Shield? Because a lot of people look at it like, oh, it's an additional 3/1. You know, so it's like, is it a 6/4 card now? You know, this Silver Moon Guardian, or do you look at it more from the standpoint of, you know, it only costs the mage 2 mana to get rid of it? You know, that sort of thing. Either of you, just one of you guys jump in.
Yeah, at worst, it's 1 health. So, I mean, usually you're gonna face, druids, mages, paladins, that kind of stuff when you're in the high win area. So you have to be able to beat them. And if your deck is weak against them, if you have a lot of 1 toughness creatures and a lot of divine shields, it's pretty tough to win, I think. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Trump?
I tend to just average it out to be roughly 2 health. So I think of the Silver Moon Guardian's a 3/5.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's a good way to look at it. Okay, let's move on. We got Spellbreaker and Stormwind Knight. So we'll start with Spellbreaker with Trump.
Okay, so Spellbreaker is one of the cards that, I think everyone's opinion on Silence has dropped a little bit over time. It just becomes less and less relevant, and it's only a 4 mana 4/3. It's not as good as it looks, is all I can say. That said, I still think it's a good card.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get a silence, I still prefer this to the owl. It's a 4-drop. If the board is clear, then it's effective. You know, if you can attack with 4 damage, it's really good. If you have to absorb 3 damage, then it's really bad. So probably a little bit more suited towards aggro-ish arena decks, but still fairly strong in general. I'm pretty happy when I have these.
So your comment about Silence, Trump, was more arena based, right? Or do you feel that about arena and constructed?
Oh, it's more arena based. In constructed, Silence is slightly better. I mean, did I say that right? In constructed, Silence is slightly better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Stormwind Knight.
I like this card a lot, especially if you have the buff cards. So if you have the Duggies, if you have the Flame Tongue Totems, really anything that can buff 1 attack makes this card very flexible. And even if you don't, it's still kind of like a turtle, except a little bit more aggressive. So It's very nice. Love it.
Trump?
I don't love it, but I think it's on the bad side of good, which is to say, like, it's just a little bit worse than what I would proclaim a good card to be.
Okay, for the most part, is it a 2-for-1 when you guys use it, or not? You don't really think of it like that.
Depends on what you use it against. But yeah, it tends to be.
Okay.
It tends to kill a guy and then, like, do half a damage to the guy. So I think of it as like a 1.5-for-1.
Good deal. Okay, moving on. We got Sinjin Tazdingo.
Okay. I'm famously quoted as saying, like, taunts are bad. That's because most taunts are bad, but Tazdingo is not a bad card. It's a good card, because it's actually a 3/5 for 4, which is good stats. The taunt's a nice bonus.
Okay, cool. Krip?
Yep.
Not much to say on that one.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
card.
a solid card, yeah.
I think I'd pick Yeti over it. I think I'd sometimes pick Dark Iron over it. And I think it's about equal to the Panda for me. And those are the common 4s.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go as far as to say I will always pick Yeti and Dwarf over it. And I will almost always pick Shield Master over Panda. The 4-mana Panda.
Master Panda. Okay. Very good. Next up, we got Twilight Drake, which I don't know. I start to see a lot more on ladder and constructed, but how was Twilight Drake in construct or in arena?
It's like a better Yeti sometimes, but other times you get punished. And when you get punished for your 4-drop, it really sucks. So, yeah.
You just don't really
Like,
mass cards, right?
It's a really good card, but I have some bad memories with it, so.
Trump?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with it. It's so one of the things people ask me is like, oh, was the Drake or the Yeti better? And then Krip and I would both tell you, oh, you don't have to worry about it because they never come up together. But for what it's worth, I tend to think of it as a slightly worse Yeti.
Okay. Yeah. How often in Arena are you able to mass cards to get something better than a 4/5, like a 4, say 4/7 or 4/8? Like, does that happen often?
Not that often. I think it's.
Say
I
your
think
average is a
4/6 is
4/5.
pretty common.
4/6.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that's good.
I think
Traded
4/5
across
is the
that.
average, but I think 4/6 is pretty common as well.
Gotcha. Okay, next up we got Violet Teacher. Trump, what you think?
Cards really good. It's like the well, I should say it's really good if you have spells, and if not, then it's okay. It's almost like Tazdingo in that it basically has taunt on it also because it's so threatening.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's true. How often do you have decks in Arena with a lot of spells? Outside of, like, I guess, Mage.
It doesn't have to be
Um,
mage.
Yeah, you don't need that many spells for me to call it good. Like even just 5, and I'd be happy.
Okay. Grip, thoughts on Violet Teacher?
Yeah, Violet Teacher's pretty good. I feel like I don't draft that many spells in general, so I don't think it's really that great of a 4-drop, but it kind of does the same job as all the other 4-drops. It cleans up the game that your opponent played before it, so it does its job. It's good.
All right, moving into the last one. The big guy, Chillwind Yeti. Grip.
I like how that
man.
one's sorted by the Y instead of the C.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is it? Okay. Chun's probably the best out of the 4s, except for some of the class ones. I think Water Elemental beats Yeti, but
Yeah.
the Yeti's just good. 5 toughness allows it to survive True Silver. It allows it to survive Frostbolt Ping. So it's gonna stay on the board. It's gonna kill something. If you play it early, it's going to kill 2 things rather than 1.
Yeah. What's cool about it, too, is we're starting to see it summon Constructed, too, and there's not many vanilla cards you get to see in Constructed very often these days, so it just kind of shows you how good this card is. Trump, any additional things to add? I know you love this card, so I think everybody knows you love this card.
Yeah, this card's number 1 on the list. It's just so good. The 5 health in particular, like that's also why Tazdingo is so good. It's just it survives so many of the removal that is below 5 mana.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that concludes our 4-drop analysis. We're going to go into some coaching, or Arena coaching. They're going to coach me through some draft. If you guys haven't seen it before, what we do is we go through just the typical